So my girlfriend's brothers have a lot of Jaguar and 3DO, and like they have a lot of old weird games, and it's kind of rare for me to see an old game that I had never even heard of or played, and that's pretty much all I played this weekend.
Oh, wow.
So I played Ultra Vortex.
Yep.
I played some Fight for Life.
Ugh.
I played Escape from Monster Manor.
Okay.
Killing Time, and Unreal Tournament for Dreamcast.
All right. Yeah.
But I had never even heard, like, they had all these old Mortal Kombat knockoffs from, like, 94. Like, we played some Way of the Warrior and stuff like that.
Right.
Which I'd heard. I know that one. But Fight for Life,
Fight for
Ultra
Life.
Vortex.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I'm trying to, like, Ultra Vortex was more explicitly Mortal Kombat-like, and it was Fight for Life polygonal, like more of a Virtua Fighter.
I think Fight for Life was straight up, like, taking on Virtua Fighter at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I remember being invited to an event to go see Fight for Life. And not going.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It's real bad. Ultra Vortex is, too.
Ultra Vortex at the time, like there were people on that game that I think that Ryan McDonald knew a guy who was working on it or something, or I forget what it was, but I remember hearing a lot about that game when it was in development and was being like, oh no, it's fucking gonna be super legit, and all this like.
Did that game use actors? Like, were they going that hard on the Mortal Kombat angle?
Yeah.
Like it's all digitized stuff.
And I think even like the fatality animation is the same, just kind of like Woozy standing there waiting for an input thing.
Wow.
It's I have not played that game in a very long time, but I remember it being pretty rotten. I remember both those games being pretty rotten.
The character select screen on Ultra Vortex is pretty cool, though. It's this big demon looking back and forth, and its hands are open, and the players go in their hands.
Like Golden Axe?
Like Golden yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
I played some Alien vs. Predator. I'd never played that. I always heard about it.
Oh, the Jaguar version. That game is like always held up as like the Jaguar game, and I've never been a fan.
Hasn't aged that well. Like the HUD is kind of weird, and it's.
I just thought I think that was another one of those cases where if you were playing shooters on a PC and came to that game, you were like, okay, I guess.
It's
like there are things
right?
about it that are like more complicated than a lot of other shooters, and that's neat. But man, I just thought that game.
GoldenEye was good if you played PC shooters. Like, I mean, it wasn't quite good, but it was like the stuff that they did with the weapons and the fact that you could kind of aim and headshots.
It was different.
That was neat.
They were building their own thing. They were taking advantage of the controller in a way that Turok didn't.
Yeah.
And that was neat. But at the same time, I don't know, like just the speed of it and all that. I still wanted to play real shooters on a PC.
Were any of those Alien versus Predator games ever good?
People really like the ones that came years later
like the
on
Lithtech
PC.
One or something?
Yeah, or was it Lithtech?
Didn't Monolith make one?
Yeah,
I feel like there have been 8 different games that just have the title Alien versus Predator.
You're right,
and I can't keep them all straight.
Yes, those games were super well liked when they were on PC. But I think it was the same deal where I just came to them and was like, if you really like Aliens and or Predators, you're willing to kind of overlook some stuff. But I don't know.
The one everybody seems to remember is it came out around like 2000-ish, 2001.
Yeah,
Yeah,
was that
I-
AVP Gold or AVP 2?
Something like that. The Sega made one in like 09, somewhere around there that was not good.
That one wasn't good.
That
I
was
played
before
that
Clone
one.
Yeah, that was
Marines.
that was a different kind of a different thing.
Well, they were kind of 3 different games. Like the one, I think I played the Lithtech one, which was 3. It was 3 because there was
3
a
different
Colonial
campaigns.
Marine side. There was you could be the alien and like climb on the walls.
the
and
Jaguar
stuff.
game
You
has
can do
that also.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot of like opening a door as a Marine, and there's an alien. I'm going to walk straight backwards and shoot my shotgun for a while.
And then to walk forward, I have to take damage because it left a pool of acid on the ground.
So if you kill me in the doorway.
Yeah.
And then to strafe, you can either hold in C and move left or right, or that dumb like number pad on the bottom.
Yeah, what did you think of that controller?
It was, I never actually held one. I never had a Jaguar, and it always looked like this big, heavy, expensive piece of machinery. And then you hold it, and it feels so light and cheap. But yeah, her brother was telling me about like the inserts or whatever, the cards you would put over.
It was like the Intellivision. The Intellivision is the same.
Right, like game-specific stuff. And man,
which you needed because otherwise it's just this number pad, and you're like, I hit 4 to strafe left. And you're like, who the fuck remembers
turn
that?
the mini map on, I hit 8 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I always thought the controller
Fun on an emulator.
Oh, right.
Those games, the ones that took advantage of the pad anyway.
They have the CD.
The CD.
Yeah,
Jaguar
it has a CD add-on. Like Sega CD
did
style.
Did it look like a toilet bowl was attached to the top of a Jaguar?
I don't think so. I think all of our stuff was on carts. They all look like Sonic and Knuckles carts.
Okay, yeah. The CD system, like the latch would get loose. So I know multiple people that had just like butter knives permanently jammed into their CDs to keep it latched shut.
I'm amazed you knew multiple people that had a Jaguar CD.
Yeah. Well,
period.
I ran in bad circles.
I knew one guy that had like all the weird consoles, like the Neo Geo and the
Like I don't own a Jaguar CD. But
I also had no idea about it. Was it the 3DO that had one controller port and you could bring it out
daisy
and
chain that shit?
Yeah.
What a dumb fucking idea.
And we did. We played Return Fire, which was this kind of like it was actually pretty fun.
That's a great game.
And I guess if you plug in headphones to the headphone jack as you're listening, like if we're playing against each other and I'm ahead, I'll be hearing like victorious like Flight of the Valkyries type music, and you'll be hearing like doom and gloom music or whatever.
Oh, that's
cool.
I didn't realize that they did that. That's neat.
Yeah, that game's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, Return Fire is awesome. That's such a fucking fantastic game.
What is it? I never played this.
It's basically imagine like a Command and Conquer type view, like top down. You've got a base, but you're not like it's not an RTS by any means. You can play.
Well, I mean,
you're not building anything.
Yeah,
you've got each team has a flag basically, and you can be a Jeep, which the Jeep is the only vehicle that can transport the flag. Okay. A helicopter is the fastest one that can like fly over water and like kind of scout out and find out where the other guy's flag is. The tank is what you want to use once you know where it is, and you just blow up all the defenses around it. And then there's like this weird APC thing that I never really used.
Yeah.
But yeah. So basically, it's finding the other person's flag, getting there, destroying the defenses, driving the Jeep there, and just hauling ass back to your base.
Yeah, and it's this split screen.
Are there creeps?
No, there are defenses
like
around the base, towers you need to kind of handle. But yeah,
okay. Jungle?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
In a manner of speaking, some of the maps would have a jungle.
It's got a pudge. Maybe the APC.
Maybe the APC is pudge. I don't know.
This is all that
the only thing an APC does is black hole. I don't know.
Okay.
Return Fire is a hell of a game.
It's really cool. I heard there's a PlayStation version too. Is it pretty much the same?
I think so. It might have more maps. I forget.
It seems like one of those things that could have used the link cable, like one of the few PS1 games that used that.
Yeah.
Or like Command & Conquer used that. Twisted Metal might have.
Doom.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yep.
Wipeout XL, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just really cool to get this like huge assortment of games I had never heard of or played before, since I never had those systems. Yeah, I had all the like the big systems, the NES and the Super Nintendo and all that stuff, but never these like weird expensive side ones. And you had just a whole wall of this stuff.
Yeah, that stuff's nonsense. A lot of those games are forgotten for a reason.
That stuff was hard to find when you were a kid. Like I don't remember what the Jaguar cost when it came out, but the 3DO
like $250. I remember it not.
Was it not that much?
It was not 3DO expensive
because the first 3DO, the Panasonic, I forget what the model number was, but the first version was $700.
Yeah,
and that was in early '90s money.
Right,
like it was hard to find somebody that had a 3DO.
That and the Neo Geo were basically, and the CDI also was similarly pricey, though. The CDI was barely a games machine.
I remember in the old like game magazines, you would see the cost to import or just buy these games from whatever companies there were, and like the Super Nintendo games or Sega would be the standard 50, 60, some of them would be 80 maybe, and then Neo Geo games, individual games would be like $600.
Yeah,
and I was constantly thinking like, is this some weird thing where they're not putting the yen symbol, or is this some weird currency? Like, there's no way it's $600 for this copy of Samurai Showdown.
Hell yeah! No, and they weren't six. They were more like
two to 300.
Still, like for a game,
still a ton of money.
Yeah. You would get a console and the Neo Geo Gold, which was like the console controller and Magician Lord. I want to say that was like 600 or 700.
That sounds right. Yeah, it's just the games, the ROMs were so big.
And they're pretty arcade perfect. They
were the exact same. They were literally the same game.
I mean, you can install a custom BIOS into a Neo Geo now that will let you flip between home and console because they're all on the same.
And
cartridges.
It's just a mechanical adapter, or the cartridges even.
The cartridges are different. The cartridges because they didn't want operators buying the cheap $300 cartridges for their arcades.
Yeah.
They wanted them buying the $800 or $1,000 cartridges for MVS.
But that was mainly manufacturing cost. Like that's the same principle that made Chrono Trigger $80 when it came out, or like Phantasy Star 4 was $100.
There's a lot of RAM or a lot of ROMs on that thing, and it costs money.
Yeah.
What did console like? The NES, I think I bought my NES for like $80, and then the SNES I got as a gift. So was it like 150, 200?
I want to say the SNES was 200 when it came out.
That sounds right.
I think the NES, like with Mario Duck Hunt, was 100, right?
I want to say maybe that was more than that.
Maybe it was when I got it.
I feel like the original launch NES, like Rob the Robot, like deluxe kit, robot gun. No, this is pre-pad.
Okay,
it's like at launch it was like Gyromite and Duck Hunt, and I think Mario Brothers on separate cartridges. And then this big ass box that had the robot and the light gun in there. I want to say that might have been like $250.
That seems right, plausible.
But I don't remember. I can look it up.
But then I think I want to say SNES with Mario World was $199, $200.
And the Genesis was. I remember paying $200 for a Genesis, but I don't think it came with a game.
Altered Beast, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, no, I bought.
This was later.
I bought the second.
Okay. So you bought it late.
Refresh.
Okay.
I bought it late. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would run in like 93 probably or 94.
Yeah.
Yours was Sonic? The one I bought was with Sonic.
Mine, I went to Tower Records and bought mine, and I bought Madden and NHL because the kid who had NHL and Madden on our floor, because I was a freshman in college, the kid who had it on our floor flunked out over the holiday break.
Somebody had to come in.
So somebody had to step up because,
True. Had to do what was necessary.
Yeah.
I think I got some Toys R Us deal where it also came with Pat Riley basketball.
What a deal.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Perfect.
a hell of a
That's
game.
great.
Who made that?
Pat Riley basketball?
Sega?
That's probably Sega. That's probably Sega's basketball game. Because they did Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah, I was going to say
Genesis,
they were going after coaches for their stuff.
That was when Pat Riley was at the Lakers still, right?
Yes, so that would have been.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, that game was super real basketball in Japan, and then they put it out as Pat Riley basketball here. Yeah, that game, man.
It was not a great game.
Nah. But I love Tommy Lasorda baseball. That's a hell of a game.
And NHL 94 though, that's the whole reason to own a Genesis.
Yep.
Yeah, like that
It was
was
an amazing game.
that was that crazy moment of like the Master System was like this also ran next to the NES. Like nobody cared, but then all of a sudden the Genesis just like took off like a rocket.
I remember
Because of
buying a
Mortal
Master
Kombat and
System.
sports games.
I remember buying a Master System, and this was like after a year or two of the NES, and like getting that thing and being really bummed out, like feeling like I had made a huge mistake.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of stuff.
Was that after you had a Nintendo?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would do it.
And like there were games on it I liked, but at some point it was just like, man, like the games aren't coming out fast enough. Some of these games that I've got that I picked up just suck. I feel like we were buying Master System games at Costco. I don't know. Yeah.
I bought NES games at Hills and Kmart, and it was always based on cover art. It was total crapshoot every time.
Oh yeah. No, I was renting a lot back then because that was a good local place that was renting games.
Yeah, I did that too. I looked at the Master System games at Rose's. Did you guys have a Rose's?
Oh yeah, we had a Rose's.
Yeah.
I bought lawn chairs at a Rose's one time.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that with Master System games though, because the box art was just this white box with this grid on it.
Oh, it looked cool.
That
was a cool box design.
I love the box design, but if you're like trying to shop for games, it's fucking terrible because it just says the wrestling, and then you're pro wrestling. You pick it up and it's like, here's a dude. I don't know.
I don't think it was any better than looking at that picture of Mega Man on the cover of Mega Man for the NES.
That was at least
like,
more evocative.
Oh man, this is gonna be awesome. It looks like a paint. No.
Maybe the Master System games were like more realistic
Yeah.
than or something. But pro wrestling was a great Master System game.
Master System had two different kinds of carts.
Cards.
Right? It had like a chip and a card.
Yeah, it had carts and then it had cards. And so those were, I think that's just the legacy of like what that system was in Japan and the way they kind of upgraded it over time from like the SG 1000 or whatever up to the Mark III. And yeah, so they wanted to have like cheaper games be available on these cards. And the Master System just had both. But it was, I don't know, the card games came in thinner cases. So like Transbot came in this like really thin case. I thought that was really cool.
So you could tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the games were the same. I mean, it didn't seem like
Wasn't like a capacity difference. It didn't
there
matter.
probably was, but it's just it didn't read as like this huge capacity
I mean,
difference.
did Ice Climber need as much space as The Legend of Zelda? Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Old consoles are fun.
I like old consoles.
We should go dig some more of those up. You're not going to run out and buy a Jaguar anytime soon, though.
No, but it was still super fun. Whenever I go back there, I'm sure we'll play some more of those.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, I could bring in my Jaguar if you want to.
Can we do some more UPF stuff?
Play some garbage ass Jaguar. I don't think I actually own Ultra Vortex.
Okay.
But is Vortex or Vortec?
Vortex?
I think it's Ultra
thought it was
Vortec.
Vortex. It might be.
God, I actually do have to look.
So wait, you do have a Jaguar?
Crazy.
Just not a CD?
I don't have a CD.
Okay.
He's not a crazy person.
I ended up with Joe Fielder's Jaguar.
So I was vying
Somehow.
for Joe Fielder's
really?
Jaguar with CD at one point, and then ended up not getting it.
Wait.
And it was this whole.
Did it have a CD?
Maybe it.
I don't know if I still have it or not, but I don't remember there being a CD. He literally drove up to the curb outside my apartment and just like shoved a brown cardboard box out the window and drove off.
Yeah.
He did not want that thing anymore.
It's Vortec, Ultra Vortec.
Okay.
Yeah, he was moving.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the topic of old, shitty Mortal Kombat clones, what do you know about Tattoo Assassins?
It's a terrible game. It never officially came out.
It was finished, right? It was test marketed?
Yeah. They put it out on tests. So it wasn't quite finished, but it is in a very playable state in MAME.
Okay.
Does that?
And it was the story and like stuff was it was coming with one of the guys that worked on Back to the Future, the movie.
It was Data East, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a whole lore behind that where Data East was primarily a pinball company and they wanted to get into video games. And so, like, but there is some ties to some guy who had like story credit on Back to the Future.
Huh.
Did Data East get bought by Tato or something like that, or was it the other way around?
The Data East stuff ended up being weird. They ended up getting bought by a company called Gmode, which did mobile stuff in Japan.
Okay.
And so I don't know where the IP rights. This is so Data East made Windjammers. So at some point, I spent some time trying to track down the IP legacy of Data East.
of course.
And they made Bad Dudes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They made the RoboCop arcade game.
Yes, that's a good game.
Burger Time is a Data East joint.
Yeah.
Oh, right. One of the fatalities in Tattoo Assassins is you just drop the Burger Time burgers on top of someone and the points come out with the blood and all
That's
that.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That's a good weird throwback.
Yeah.
No, that game sucks. You want to hear my story about that game? Is that Tattoo Assassins is a shitty game.
Thousands of fatalities. Like you can YouTube like just Tattoo Assassins fatalities. They're fucking weird, and it advertises like literally thousands of fatalities.
Well, there was also Bloodstorm.
Right, but that came out.
That came out.
That was
and
one with Johnny Cage and the ad, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that game also had a ton of finishing moves, and that was the one that would they basically were baiting game magazines to cover their game every month by putting shout outs to game magazines in their finishers and shit. And like, we're going to give you the exclusive ones. It makes your magazine name show up. And like, this is fucking terrible. It was people like that, like just that took the exact wrong lessons from Mortal Kombat.
Right.
Yeah, then there was time killers where you didn't even have to wait for the end of the round to
I kind
kill
of
somebody.
like a Bushido blade thing. It's like I can knock her arm off.
Like that's a cool idea in Time Killers, but man, that game is shit.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
So whatever, we have not applied the science to it. Maybe
I was
maybe let it being the greatest fighting game of all time.
I was about to ask. So did Tattoo Assassins ever make it to any kind of market whatsoever?
No.
So is it eligible for ranking?
Tested, I might consider it eligible for ranking, considering
like
it is
right?
It's a meme.
It is now widely available. Should you want to play it?
Yeah.
And are willing to kind of look the other way on some intellectual property laws, I guess. But that's the way it is.
Should do a very special episode around Mortal Kombat Klones.
That's once we get into that, it's going to be a very special dark time of like a bunch of really terrible games. Some of them coming from Midway themselves, like Mace the Dark Age, and BioFreaks, a lot of stuff that was.
What was the acronym for BioFreaks? What does that stand for?
Fucking really awful. I don't know. I don't even know how to spell freaks. Apparently,
I imagine that those Mortal Kombat clones happened because I picture an old white guy in a suit who's the executive for the game company. He's like, look, kids love ripping people. It's like the guy in Wayne's World.
I was just saying the arcade owner.
Right? The arcade owner in Wayne's World. He's sitting there, he's like, look, the kids love to rip people's heads off. Yeah. That's
Give
it.
them
We got to give them what they want. And here you go.
That's what's hot.
Here we go. Biological, flying, robotic, enhanced, armored, killing synthoids.
Wow.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Huh. What's a synthoid, Jeff?
It's like
robot that looks like a person, but it's not a person?
It's the fake politicians that Cobra made to infiltrate the highest levels of government.
Yeah, and shipwreck.
Yeah, shipwreck gets on the island, and all the people fucking melt, and everybody fucking freaks out. Well, they made a video game about
pretty
it.
Good episode of G.I. Joe.
Unlicensed, but it's a pretty good episode of anything.
Might be the best episode of 80s cartoons
it's
ever.
Really haunting.
Or 2-part.
It's that's
3-part?
haunting fucking shit.
Is that one worse than when they go to the parallel dimension, where everything is slightly off?
That one's so good too.
It's so creepy.
What, like spiders?
They ended up and like some of the G.I. Joes. This was how they wrote some people off the show. Was they went to an alternate dimension and then like Zap and Rock and Roll stayed behind in the alternate dimension to help the good Baroness fight Cobra.
Well, that's
it was basically
X-Men.
It was basically the Star Trek, like the evil universe. It was just like everything was slightly different in some way.
But they were like, well, we want to put more of Bazooka and Footloose and the toys we're trying to sell this year onto the show. But we need to get Clutch and all these other fuckers out of here.
I mean, there's a long history of that kind of shenanigan.
Oh, yeah.
Including like Orson Welles coming in.
Those movies that they made were the ultimate example. It's just like half of your favorite characers die in the first 10 minutes of this kid's movie.
You already own Jazz. We don't need to put him in anything else.
But what if we turned him into something else?
I was holding Jazz just yesterday. I bought a Jazz years ago.
Jazz was shitty.
Oh, Jazz was one of my first ones. Jazz and Blue Streak were some of my first Transformers.
Wasn't Blue Streak?
He's a car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you turns into a robot.
I never had Jazz, but wasn't he super weird to transform? Like I thought.
Yeah, his arms
he didn't work right.
No, he worked fine.
The ones where their arms had to like cross over in front of each
Under
other.
the hood.
That's always the weird
never
one.
worked.
That's where they went.
And Megatron's barrel always would flap around. He sucked.
No, I don't know. My favorite Transformers are the ones where the doors become wings. And
Yeah.
both Jazz and Blue Streak do that.
Yeah,
So.
Okay.
that looks cool.
Do you have the
Going around
McDonald's
jazz.
ones where it's like the hotcakes thing turns into a pterodactyl
I
transformer?
do have one of those
Okay.
somewhere.
Those are the only ones I ever had, but I had all of those.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's not hard for me to believe.
All right. Jeff, have you been playing much?
Quake Live.
Really?
Really?
Talk about video games. Let's talk about the video game.
Okay, you mentioned